At some point, you also begin writing Super Unleaded, another creative name. What leads to that decision as well? Do you remember coming up with that new moniker?
It's a handle. It's an Instagram handle. I mean, it's like a pimp named Slickback. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just sounds nicer. It's just like, it's catchy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, I don't know. I don't even know where the fuck it came from. It's like, okay, gasoline, 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 gasoline. Okay, I've done everything I can do with this gas, gasoline, gas one, gas oh shit. I'm like, okay, well, like, there's different levels of gasoline. Like, there's regular gasoline, and there's like unleaded gasoline, and there's like super duper unleaded gasoline. And like, okay, so now I'm not just gas. I'm the best level of gas. I'm not like 105 racing fluid because I write NASCAR, but like the basic gasoline, that's the highest level you're gonna get for, you know? So that's the super unleaded shit. That's the best shit. You want the good shit, you know? And then that was just a name, just a fucking handle, I guess. Sounds nice.
Things haven't always been rosy for the MTA crew. In the early 2000s, a huge rivalry begins with another well-known crew from Los Angeles. Can you talk about how this animosity first begins? Why does it begin?
Well, I'd rather not dove too much. Actually, to be truthful, I'd rather not dove into that at all, period. For the simple fact, it's just energy, a thing of life with me, that I don't feel things of a negative nature in my life should be giving any energy at all whatsoever. So I'll just go ahead and pass that whole topic on and just, it's not even worth talking about. I don't want to entertain that energy at all.
Understandable. Moving on. Later in the 2000s, MTA makes history. A giant bridge-to-bridge MTA is painted in the LA River, from the 4th Street Bridge all the way to the 1st Street Bridge. It's considered to be the biggest roller ever.
I think to this day, they can say what they want. I think it still is, but yeah.
Do you remember hearing about this ambitious plan? And who mentions it first?
I do remember hearing this plan. I do not want to say who the mastermind is, just for obvious reasons. I don't want to put anyone's name on that title, but yeah, like, they know they are, we know they are. Anyone in the crew who thinks like, oh, like, that was my idea. No, we all know whose idea it was. Don't be cheeky and say it wasn't, because I know exactly how I idea it was. He knows who it is, and he probably prefer I not say whose it was. We all know, and that's really what matters.
When you first hear the plan, what are your thoughts about it?
Truth be told, I wasn't even, for the record too, I will say this so they can say what they want. I wasn't even in the state when it happened. Or I wasn't in the state, I wasn't in the county when it happened. I heard about it, and I honestly didn't believe it. And then I saw that shit. I didn't participate in it. I wasn't here to participate in it. Me and like 4 people weren't even around. But I was like, yeah, they fucking, like, these motherfuckers did this shit. Like, this is fucking mind-blowing. Like, and then I saw the videos and the stories, and I saw that shit, and I was like, damn, that's probably the most proudest shit. That shit blew my mind. That shit blew my fucking mind. To this day, it still blows my mind. There's a lot of crews done big shit and shit, but that shit, the teamwork and the dreamwork, that shit happens. That shit was, I mean, you can kind of still see it now. Most of that shit is faded away. You still see it, but yeah.
Do you know how many people does it take to complete, or how long did it take to complete?
Multiple days and multiple people. I don't get exact numbers, hours, but yeah, multiple shit, like, yeah.
Once it's finished, does the crew celebrate? How does the crew celebrate?
Like, if there was a dinner and a banquet for that shit, like I said, I wasn't, like I said, I think I was still like 2 weeks out of coming back. So like, if they had a dinner and a banquet or rented a hall, I didn't fucking know. I didn't hear about that. I mean, yeah, I think that was like a really big nut. I don't think there was anything to celebrate. Like, the mission was done. Like, they did great. Like, you know, the crew basked in that shit for years. People, every time you run into somebody, they'd be like, oh my God, you're from MTA, that big. I was like, man, my crew did good. I'm not gonna sit there and fake the funk and say I did something I didn't do. Like, my crew did really well. I'm proud of them. It was amazing. To this day, it's still, they say, it's a phenomenal feat. If they celebrated, I don't know. I'm not asking people on that though.
After the giant MTA is complete, it's all over the newspapers, all over the television news. How long after does the crew get a feeling that the police might be investigating as to who?
I don't think anyone had that feeling. No one told me, hey, you should be careful. Like, there was never that feeling given. It was just like, shit happened, you know?
A couple of months down the line, though, several members of the MTA crew are arrested and charged with various crimes relating to the giant MTA. Do you remember hearing the news everyone's homes have been raided?
I heard something like that.
Do you know what was the official charge? Because I believe they dropped several of the charges.
I could not comment. I don't want to comment on misleading information. I was not a part of that thing. I'm from the team, I ain't lying, but like I just don't want to give misinformation.
At this time, MTA is also the first graffiti crew to be hit with a modified gang injunction, which means they couldn't hang out with other MTA members in public. They had an adult curfew and couldn't possess any writing tools. How does this ruling affect the crew as a whole?
It doesn't affect the crew as a whole. It affects anybody that was deemed being a member of the crew. You know, if you were found to be on that list of people who are like, I could tell them everyone in this room is from MTA. That doesn't mean shit. Like, you know, until you've been charged as being, if it was something, it's kind of a he say, she say. So the ones that had something above them because of that, I guess they had to be careful of that shit. Those who didn't, they didn't, you know?
Do you know if this injunction was only for 5 years or was it permanent?
It's gone. That thing has been gone. It's just, they took that thing on, not just off of us, but everybody. We're not special. Like, that shit's gone. They don't have that shit anymore. It's like, found unconstitutional. That whole RICO Act, old gang injunction for gangs, they took it off of gangs, you know what I'm saying? So like, we were way, like, yeah, think about it. That's just on gangs and how much is really coming into effect. If it does, it's used more as like a reason just to round up and fuck with them than them actually doing anything. So whatever the reason was, they took that shit away. And like I said, it didn't affect everybody in MTA. It affected like 3 or 4 people who were actually indicted in the thing. Yeah, everyone else didn't affect you because you weren't part of that.
Definitely a historic feat by the MTA crew.
Well, thank them. Well.
Legendary.